Amazing.
And we're live!
First of all, we'd like to thank Dario.
Amazing, really. Like, when I saw that, I was like, that's fantastic.
That intro was made by Dario for us. He just put it on Instagram one day, and I asked him if we could use it, and he said sure. So I just wanted to show that because the community is so amazing. People making things all the time for us and doing all kinds of cool stuff like that. So really appreciate that.
We love
what
how
else?
people
Yeah.
get involved with the community.
Yeah.
We love how, they feel that they're part of it, and we as well feel that we are together with them, right? And it's just beautiful. And we saw that during the render competitions.
Yes.
And now it feels like that with this show we were able to make it even more sort of intimate, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, Jason, this is day 5.
Yeah,
It's
I can't
like
believe it.
crazy. It went so fast, right?
Yeah, it did. What shorts are you wearing today?
Today I'm wearing
People are
Jordan
asking.
shorts.
They want to know. Okay.
Jordan shorts, no flowers.
Classic.
I apologize.
Yeah, so something very important today I wanted to mention as well is that we are so happy with the support of the sponsors we had this year because they really helped us out to make sure that this event could happen and to make it free for everyone to watch. It was a really important thing for us that we make it free, and so thank you to all our sponsors if any of them are watching. I'm not going to list them all here at the moment. We had it rolling on the pre-roll. You can find it on the website. It's in the description down below. So please support those people who are supporting us because that's what makes this possible. On another note, we had a group of what we're calling the D2 superfans, people who basically donated their ticket that they'd already bought to us. And you can see that now, I hope, on the screen. And it's also on the website if you want to see more information about these great companies and individuals. So please check that out. Give them also a thanks. They've
Follow them on their Instagram,
Please,
on
yeah.
their Facebook.
everything you can do.
Try to create a connection with them because we are of the opinion that, if you surround yourself with same sort of like open-minded people, it's just beneficial.
Absolutely. So I guess is it time to jump right in?
It's kind
the-
of weird though because we know that when we're gonna start, then it's gonna finish, and it's not quite as when we do the live show in Vienna, but it is sort of sad to think that tomorrow we'll have to
Yeah.
put everything down, and then that's it, right?
Yeah, that's true. That is absolutely true.
But anyway, we have a fantastic lineup of amazing speakers also for tonight, and we cannot wait to share the content that we have prepared for you guys with you guys tonight. Jason, should we get going?
Yeah, let me get some stuff closed here.
Quite a thousand of tabs.
Thousands of windows. Yeah, so...
Oh, wait, can I make an introduction to the speaker for tonight?
Of course.
Okay, the speaker that we have tonight is a gift to us from our friends at Maxon. He's a prolific and very famous Cinema 4D user. He's an artist that I've been following since as long as I can remember using Cinema 4D. He's been a very big inspiration of mine. He's a very creative artist. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a virtual applause to EJ Hassenfratz. What's up, man?
Hey, I remembered to unmute myself. This is the world we live in right now.
That's you're adding to the production value and the production quality.
I have audio attached, so production value skyrocketing right now.
So, man,
how you guys doing? Thanks for having me, man. This is incredible. I can't see all the people out there, but I'm just imagining all your happy little Zoom faces.
There's quite a few, I have to say.
Yeah, and I'm sad that, I can't be there to hang out with everyone and, to render hard and party harder, So maybe next year, we'll hope.
So, EJ, I think we're going to turn it over to you right now so that we can go ahead and get started. If you want to share your screen, let's make sure everything's properly set up, and then you can get started.
That. Let's see. Are we doing the thing where... Hey, can you see me?
Yeah, everything seems to be okay. Maybe
everything's good.
Mute ourselves now, right?
Yeah, I'll mute it when everything's ready. Did you do the optimize for full screen video?
I believe I did, but let me just do it one more time just to make sure. Yep, I did. It's doing the thing. Sharing.
Great. Okay, I'm going to put us on mute, but we'll be here if you need anything.
All right.
Take it away.
Okay. All right. Woo-hoo. Let me hit the button. Again, thank you guys so much for having me. And this is really an awesome honor. Hopefully next year I'll be able to come see everyone in person. But for those of you out there that may not know me, I'm EJ Hassenfratz. And I have a website called iDesign.com full of like almost 150 tutorials, all covering Cinema 4D subjects. I love Cinema 4D. If it really wasn't for Cinema 4D, I don't even know if I'd be into 3D right now. But right now, what I'm doing is I am a 3D creative director over at schoolofmotion.com, and I'm almost done with my second Cinema 4D course that is going to be released over there called Cinema 4D Ascent. And I already have an existing Cinema 4D class over there called Cinema 4D Basecamp, which is for like beginners. So I don't know why you'd be at like this architectural conference if you didn't know what the heck you were doing. But if you're very new to Cinema 4D, that's a course for you. I also have Ascent coming out, which is more intermediate to advanced kind of subject. So always putting out free tutorials over not only at my site, but at schoolofmotion.com. And you can always follow me at on the Twitters, the YouTubes, and the Dribbles, and the Instagrams, and all of the things, just at iDesign. If you ever have any questions about anything I'm covering today, or just questions in general, just want to say hi. I mean, I'm always locked in my office, so it's always good to have interaction with people. So don't hesitate to reach out, say hello, and ask any questions. So I want to just start out by giving a little bit of background about, how did I start? How did I get here? Why am I doing a Zoom live stream to people in Vienna, the other side of the globe? How I started in motion graphics was literally just doing like still news graphics. Like if you watch the news, they have the over the shoulder graphic. I did that for like the first 2 years of my career. And I did not learn Cinema 4D. I did not learn 3D animation. I learned none of that in college. So when I got an internship at a news station here in the States, I just sat next to the After Effects artist and just try to absorb as much as I could. But mainly I started out just by learning Photoshop and trying to develop a single good frame. But man, when you go to having to make, 150 frames or 300 frames of something interesting, that was really, really difficult for me. But how I started getting into Cinema 4D was, I'm in news. This was, man, I'm dating myself, but like 2005, 2006, where the whole term motion graphics was very, I never really even heard of it, when I was in college, which is pretty crazy because now you can't go to college. I mean, they have majors in it now, but how I got into Cinema 4D was literally just extruding 3D type and making letters fly through the air. And that was something that was very fun and exciting. You throw a shiny material on there and everyone's happy. I got kind of burnt out doing news graphics. I probably did news graphics for the first 6 years of my career. And, towards the end of my career the end of my time in news graphics, that's when, Andrew Kramer came on the scene, Grayscale Gorilla, who I'm sure everyone, that guy everyone's heard of. And, Nick really inspired me because he was freelance and I started meeting more people on Twitter. Twitter became a thing. Like Twitter didn't exist when I was in college, right? Facebook was just starting to be a thing. But what being part of like the Grayscale Gorilla community at the time opened me up to was the possibility of going freelance. And I was like, okay, cool. I can finally get out of news graphics. And the one thing that really interested me at the time was sports graphics. I'm into sports. And so what I did was like, okay, well, I can easily transfer the skills I have of like animating 3D type and making logos and extruding that and doing it to sports. But then at the end of the day, I'm just like animating 3D type, even though it's not, news graphics, or I'm animating, the same ABC or NBC logo all the time. It's sports teams logos. And I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of sick of 3D logos. Like, okay, I'm done with this. What do I do now though? But, my whole entire career, I've just been animating like 3D type and not learning 3D fundamentals. Like I didn't know how to light. I didn't know how to model. Like I still am pretty crappy at modeling to this day. I'm just like, what do I do now? So, you do what most people do these days is you're just watching tutorials day in, day out, and just trying to learn all these things, trying to soak up as much knowledge as you can. And, I watched all the Grayscale Gorilla tutorials, and I have probably way too many shiny sphere renders in my old portfolios, but, that was what was cool and exciting. But the thing is I was just kind of chasing what I thought looked cool, not, hey, do I actually enjoy doing this stuff? And what made it even harder is that I'm completely self-taught. Like I said, I didn't learn 3D or animation in school. So what I should have done if I could talk to myself and go back in time is I should have really focused on like, hey, let's learn lighting. Like, let's not learn how to put shiny materials on things and blow things up with dynamics. Like, let's learn the fundamentals. And like I said, animation design fundamentals was not good at that. So I had this epiphany where I'm like, you know what? I'm not getting anywhere. I feel like I'm just, on the treadmill, just regurgitating the same stuff. I'm not developing a style. I don't feel really good about the work that I'm doing. It doesn't feel like it's mine. And I always went back to the fact that like, if I ever had to design a frame or had to choose a color palette, like I was horrible at it. And I'm trying to be less and less horrible at that every day. So what I ended up doing is like, you know what? I'm not doing materials anymore because I'm not good at it. And this was like before Redshift, Octane, all these third-party renders. I mean, there was V-Ray back in the day, but it was so difficult to learn that I just totally ignored that stuff up until like, 4 years ago. But what I did is like, instead of focusing on throwing shiny materials on things and hoping that's like the lipstick on the pig where it's going to cover up for the fact that like I'm horrible at choosing colors. What I was going to do is just, I'm just going to remove all those extra technical things. And, like I wasn't good at lighting. So you know what, I'm not going to do crazy light setups. I'm not going to do crazy you know, MoGraph cloner setups or anything super technical. I just wanted to go back to basics. So what I started doing is I discovered Sketch and Tune, which if you're not familiar with Sketch and Tune in Cinema 4D, basically just like one button click and you basically turn your 3D scene into a 2D cell shaded cartoony kind of render, which I fell in love with. And this was about 5-6 years ago. And what I really found that I love doing is like, okay, I want to get my color theory up. So let's remove a bunch of the shading and let's just have flat shapes with cell shaded textures. So at the end of the day, you're left with form and color and just the animation. So I'm like, you know, have these constraints where if I have a cube or a sphere, it's not shiny, but if I had a sphere, what color would I make it? And then how would I make it look interesting just using animation? So that's how, you know, I really took all the extra variables out of the way and just focused on like, if I can't make this sphere look good with just animation, like I failed. So what I started doing is to develop my animation skills and color skills and design skills, all that stuff, was I would just take, you know, inanimate objects and just animate them. So if it was an apple or a book or you know, a cup, a coffee mug or something like that, I would just animate it in interesting ways. And then I'm like, you know what? Well, this has a lot of character to this. Let me just like throw some eyeballs and a mouth on it. And like that was even more fun for me, just trying to, you know, breathe life and character into these inanimate objects. So a lot of anthropomorphism. I think that's how you say that. It's a big word. But that's why I started doing is slapping cartoon faces on it. And I discovered I really loved animating and injecting life into these characters and these objects, that I really started down the path of, I'm not very technical as far as rigging goes, but I really like to do this character animation stuff. So that's the direction I went in. And my main goal was, how do I do character animation without all of these very complex rigging concepts? Because, you know, once a subject gets very technical and complex and it removes me from just animating and being an artist, like that's where I kind of tune out. So what I loved about Cinema 4D is the fact that like there's so many tools inside of it that you don't need to be a super technical artist to be able to do these things, right? And the fact that like there's the jiggle deformer, the squash and stretch deformer, or there's, you know, there's really easy ways to be able to create animation and breathe life into a character just using, you know, deformers or something like that, where you don't have to learn these complex rigging subjects. And that's why that's why I loved about Cinema 4D all along, is that it got out of your way. It didn't bog you down with all the technical aspects of things like a Maya or 3D Studio Max might, but it just gave you the tools that you needed to use to be able to just be an artist and to create. So yeah, I mean, if this was way more technical, I'm not a smart guy. I'm not that smart. So if it was way harder, I probably wouldn't be doing this. But what I want to do now is kind of show you the difference between like right when I went freelance, which is like maybe 6-7 years ago, and the work I did then, and contrast it to the type of work that I'm doing now, again, through my journey of starting with 3D sports logos, kind of stripping everything back, going to animation basics, and developing my love of like, you know, doing character animation and creating little characters. So this is a reel that was, this might be 2014. So many shiny things. Whoops. So, whoops. Oh man, screwing up, technical difficulties already. So that was my reel. A lot of shiny things from 6 years ago or so. Here is a reel that I just cobbled together in the past like few months. And you'll probably see a huge difference as far as what's on that reel. Less shiny text and giant and a lot of giant eyeballs these days. So that's kind of my journey, and this kind of leads into what I'm going to be talking about today, which is character animation made easy. If you ever was like, you know, I'd love to do character animation, but it just seems way too hard, this is going to be my little pep talk for you, and to kind of show you some options as far as like how you can get started with very low effort, low friction entry into character animation. And we're not even talking like you have to even know how to animate. If you ever wanted to add characters to your work, like if you do architectural renders, you want to add people and characters in your renders, like that's the workflow I'm going to be showing today, where we're going to be talking very heavily in Mixamo. If you don't know what Mixamo is, it is basically, it's owned by Adobe. If you have a Creative Cloud subscription, you have it. It's a website. You basically can choose characters. You can upload characters. Here we go. Mixamo.com. You can upload characters. You can browse characters. And there's so many animations you can apply to a character that you modeled, or you can just use one of their preset characters. And the workflow is just so incredibly easy. And I always love to show people that aren't aware of Mixamo and what it can do, just the possibilities it can unlock as far as rigging goes and just animation, because rigging is not easy. This is a character that one of my friends allowed me to use. And basically it's just like all of these, you know, you see all these controllers and stuff, and if you click on all of these, like look at all of these little controls, they overlap each other. There's so many of them. Like the NASA astronauts had less buttons and knobs to deal with when they went to the moon, right? But this is like, I see something like this and my eyes glaze over. Like I'm just like, I want nothing to do with any of this. And that's exactly why I think just showing the Mixamo workflow is so important, and some of the other workflows in Cinema 4D that kind of removes you from all this technical stuff. Because like I said, if it gets too technical, I'm not interested. Like I believe things should be very easy for an artist to be able to create whatever they want. Now, Mixamo has been around for quite a while, but I'm sure if you scroll through your Instagram feeds, like all you're seeing is like people dancing and stuff like that. And this is actually this was part of some marketing campaign for Deadpool 2, I believe. And they just used all this mocap, motion capture data, applied it to your model. And like, there's really no keyframe, like you don't need to keyframe anything at all. You basically have all these motion captured animations. You just apply to your model and you can mix them together, blend between all of them. You can see all these different animations that is getting blended into here. For those of you that may or may not know Beeple, if you see his, there's something wrong with that guy. But basically he does not do character animation at all. Like this is all purely Mixamo animations that he applies to all these horrific models of, I don't even know, there's a pig back here. I have no idea what goes on in that kid's head. But just to show that Mixamo can allow you to add characters to your artwork, to your creations. Mixamo was even used to create an entire short film called Unplugged. And this was made solely with this model, right? And just blending between all of the different motion capture animations and a little bit of facial work done. But it's pretty incredible that you can make an entire short film just with very minimal like animation ability. Like these are all just poses and things you can blend between, right? So, let's get out of that. I'm not done yet. Yeah, that was it. That was my presentation. Let's go into Cinema 4D here, and let's do this. Let's move that there. There we go. So here's Cinema 4D. Here I have a character. Like I said, I'm not that good at modeling at all. Typically what you'd want to do if you're a decent modeler is have all of your character's pieces like all one mesh. But you can see that like all of this is like separate, and this isn't even like a traditional like humanoid figure. It's very stylized, but that's fine because you can still get decent results from Mixamo even if you don't have like your traditionally proportioned humanoid character, and even if you have all of these objects separate like this. So you have to do just one very simple step to export your model and upload it to Mixamo, and that is simply to go to File, go to Export, and you could use you can export as OBJ or you can use FBX. I found better results with FBX. Now, there's one important setting that you have to change here. And if you don't make this change and you try to upload this FBX file to Mixamo, it actually give you an error saying, hey, you missed this one step. And that step is typically your file format would be like the latest version of an FBX file. But how Mixamo works is you actually need the 2013 version. It's kind of like if you've ever used Illustrator and you want to get your pass from Illustrator over into Cinema 4D, you got to save as Illustrator 8. Same kind of thing. Basically, you can do a number of things. You can just totally bake down your subdivision surfaces, which is probably what you want to do, or you could just not. You could just export out the unsubdivided mesh. But I'm just going to hit OK. And I'll just save this out, hit replace. And then what I'm going to do is bring up Mixamo. So like I said before, Mixamo, it comes with your Creative Cloud subscription if you have Adobe Creative Cloud. And it's so, if you've never been on Mixamo before, holy cow, it's so fun. So basically what you can do is you can start out with a character. There's all these characters here, just some weird ones. There's a mouse character. And you can see that even in their library, they have like non-proportional, like typically proportioned humanoids. Got this big headed dude. And basically what you can do is take any of these characters. There's some more here as well. Got a luchador guy. You can take any of these characters, go from the characters menu to the animations menu, and there is just 52 pages of all of these animations that if you click one, like capoeira, I can't say that word. Basically, it starts doing that capoeira dance. I think I maybe got it somewhat right that time. And you can basically just click on all of these different, and you can even like orbit around here to see like, how's everything go? And everything is like weighted nicely. I mean, there's some intersection with he's punching himself in the face there. But you can kind of adjust all of these different settings here, like character arm space. You can have the arms kind of spread out from the torso a little bit more if there's intersections going on. Now he can't even touch his watch. But just to show that there are so many cool things that you can have dancing is probably the best thing about Mixamo, and I'll get into that a little bit more. But this is all to say, like, you can choose a character that's in the character menu here, and then go to animations, apply whatever animation you want, and then just download it and import it to Cinema 4D. Okay. It's so incredibly easy. And there's all these different, how do you want this to be overdriven? Like, is he really freaking out? He had way too much coffee. But that's like all the built-in Mixamo stuff. But what you can also do is upload your own character. So we had that little businessman koala. I have no idea why the koala went into business. Guess with the wildfires over in Australia, I don't know. He had to get a job because I don't know. It's just sad. It's just very sad with the fires. So you go to upload character, and it has instructions and stuff. There's a few different things to kind of keep in mind. Number one, about materials. You want to have your materials UV mapped and kind of baked down, and that will transfer over to Mixamo. Your straight up like Cinema 4D shaders or Redshift, like anything using the color channel or reflectance, all that stuff doesn't like translate. It gets lost in that FBX export. So just something to keep in mind. You can always just, copy and paste your UV mapped materials over to the rigged and animated version of the FBX, but kind of getting ahead of myself. Let's go to that Koala export FBX. So that was the file I just exported out of Cinema 4D, and we're going to open that, and it's going to do a thing. It's going to upload the character, and it takes just a moment. And we're discovering how long a moment is. And then, okay, we got our character. You can see that I specifically did not have materials on my character here. I mean, there's missing materials here, but no materials because I'll do that after the fact. Let's get back into here. And basically what you can do is just like, okay, is your character orientated correctly? If it is, you just click yes. And then basically all you do is you just follow the instructions here, and you place the markers to the corresponding parts on your model. So chin's right there. The wrists are right about there. So this is like where the pivot points of where the wrists are going to bend. Same thing for the elbows. So right about like right there. And then we got, and then we got the knees to right about here. And then we got the groin, which you can place in the groinal region right about there. Okay. Now, as far as hands go, you can choose different types. So you can have 3 chain fingers, and you can see what that looks like, where the last 3 fingers are one rigged piece that have just correspond to one row of bones or joints. And then we can also have like 2 chain, where it's just like, it's like wearing a mitten or something like that. Or you could just have no fingers at all, and it's just literally like you're wearing like you have blocks on your hands. I don't know. And you can see that like my character does have fingers, but you can always run into trouble with some of this. It might not rig correctly. So what I'm going to do is just do no fingers. I don't actually need the fingers to bend, especially if this guy is just going to dance, which he's going to dance. And then you just click next, and then the auto rigger kind of takes control, and your character starts rotating around. And basically what's happening is all these little gnomes on the Mixamo website are putting together everything and trying to animate this character. I don't know what happens. Like, it's just magic is going on. And it says that it can take 2 minutes. I promise it's not going to take a full 2 minutes. But basically it's waiting. It's trying to figure out where all your arms and hands and face and heads and all the things are. And then, if this goes too long, this is where I just ask you like how your day's going. My day's going fine. It's in the morning still here. So I got my coffee, not my beer. Oh, there we go. Okay. So we got it. That didn't take 2 minutes. So I was right. So here we have our character, and this is basically your preview scene of like, you can zoom in and check to make sure, like, here's your zoom. I'll click on that and then I'll just click and drag. And you can kind of see like, okay, how does everything look? Let me go to the rotate tool here and rotate around. You can see, all right, the auto rigger did an amazing job. Like, I did nothing. I uploaded the koala. I put the little dots on the arms and the legs and the crotch and the head, and like, this is the result. And it's pretty dang good. There's a little bit of like something going on with the torso there, but that's something we can fix in Cinema 4D. Like, it's such an easy fix that I'll show you. But basically this is looking really good. Okay. So let's go to one thing I want to point out as well is when you do export a character from Cinema 4D, make sure your character, and this will save you a lot of trouble, the feet are right on the floor. Okay. You don't want your character to be like all the way up in the air or something like that. You want it to be on the ground plane. There we go. And so like, okay, everything looks good. His feet are planted on the ground. Let's go to next. Next. And so now, instead of like that character instead of the character we had before, we now have our uploaded character. And this is pretty awesome. Now we can, start auditioning all these different moves. Like, this is a jump, nice jump. Like dying, that's sad. You don't want that. We can see how the koala does the capoeira. I'm not, let's do defeated. I'm not saying that word again. The old man, where the real fun is, and you could spend like literally all day doing this, is just search for dance. And this is where the real fun is. This is where you get your money from Creative Cloud. Like, this is totally worth the Creative Cloud subscription right here. You can actually just have poses as well. So say, for example, you just need to export out a character in a certain pose for like a still image. There's so many different poses you can choose from that just are not just, that aren't animation. They're just poses that you can save, bring into Cinema 4D, put into whatever scene you want. We got the hip hop dancing. We got just all these dancings, all of the fun dances. The chicken dance, always fun. But like I said, you could just all day long, all the hip hop dancing is so much fun. But basically you just choose what, one other thing is they have break dancing. You can actually do the entire dance of Thriller. So you have all the parts of the Thriller dance that I've actually seen people make animations with, along with the Thriller song. And you have all those dances here. You have Gangnam Style, for crying out loud. Remember that? That was a thing back in the day. But yeah, it's just so much fun stuff. Let's choose the hip hop dancing here. Something like that. That's a fun one. And now what you can do is, let me zoom in here. And you can adjust the amount of frames that you want. Like, how long do you want this dance to last? So we got 946 frames of this dance, which I don't think is even enough, to be honest. But I'll just shorten that a little bit. The character arm space, this is an important thing, where if your arms are intersecting with the torso, you want to bring this value up, and that will spread out the arms. And you can see, okay, that's a little bit better. Once this character raises the arms, though, you can see, okay, now we're starting to see, especially with the legs, like now we're starting to see some issues. But again, we can fix this very easily in Cinema 4D. The height, this is just how high this person, the dance is going to go. Like, how low can this dancer go? And then the overall speed, like, is it a slow jam or is it a really fast jam? Like that. That's a little bit too fast. But that's basically like all the settings there. Now, you might be wondering, like, we got the download here. What is this send to Aero? Aero, if you are unaware, Adobe Aero is an app you can download on your phone, iPhone only, I think, at this point. But basically, what you can do is you can take your animated character, translate it to VR. Let me try to find... Here we go. So here is a video so there's my koala character. I added textures to him and everything. And basically what I did was you can upload to Aero. You can bring it into your Aero app. So I'll just play this and just shut up for a little bit here. So here's Adobe Aero on my phone, and you can send to Aero. And all you do is you scan your table surface here. So this is just my desk, and boom, it maps it out. You place the character down, and then all you really need to do is once you place them in the scene, you need to just do a couple steps where you can, it basically just plays the animation, right? So you see the preview, you can actually record that. So you can actually record your camera view and post it to the Instagrams and get all the likes and all that stuff. But this just Adobe Aero is amazing, and it's so much fun. But anyway, so we have this character. Let's download it, and basically all of this stuff's fine. We'll do FBX with skin, 30 frames per second, and we're just going to download yet another FBX file. Okay, so it downloaded. Let's go to Cinema 4D, and I'll just go ahead and open that. So we got. Let's see. We got the hip hop dancing Mixmo. So I have this character here, which this is like the fixed version, but let me show you how I got here. So here is, let's go to the downloads here. Hip hop dancing. All these settings are basically fine. I don't think you really have to mess with anything here. But here is your character, okay? And this is all well and good, but this is just really jank, just really all janked up. So what we can do is you can see I had all these separate objects here. They all have their separate weight tags. So basically what's happening is the mesh is not properly weighted correctly to each bone. So what's happening is each of these joints are getting assigned what part of the mesh they should be deforming. And if I, let's see, here's the leg. Let me just go ahead and double click on this weight manager. And if we go to joints, you can see each of these different color coded influences of each of these joints. Okay. And you can see how like weird and janky all of the weights are. Like it's just so pixelated and weird. And we got things poking out right there. So we got a lot of issues here, but luckily we can smooth out the influence between each weight and each bone and how it's deforming our character pretty easily. So what I'm going to do is go to this little option here where I can actually search for tags and select all of the weight tags in my scene. So I'm going to right click, select all weight tags, and then I'm going to go to character, manager, weight manager. So now I have all of the weights in my scene here that I can now select all. Whoops, I did that wrong. Let me go back. Let me select that, right click, select all weights. Let's go to weight manager, and I'll just select all the things in here. So now I got all of the weights in my view. And basically all I'm going to do is go to commands and change the mode to smooth and just apply all. And this is going to smooth everything out. And I'm just going to hit this a whole bunch of times. You can see that this is not perfect, but it's a lot better than it was. And I can go in here and like weight paint and correct things like that. But this is a lot better. It's a lot smoother. Remember, we have like the crunchy thing going on in the torso there. It's kind of gone. And also this animation is kind of like a weird one for this kind of character. Like it's just bending a lot. Maybe this hip hop dance was not the best one to choose. But basically we have this animation here. And we're kind of stuck to it, right? But what if we wanted to, like the Deadpool, we wanted to blend between all these different animations, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So let me get Mixmo again. And let's add a walk. So I'm just going to have this person walk. No, not walk backwards. Let's give me just a normal walk, non-norc walk. Let's do happy walk backward. Who happy walks backwards? There, just normal walking. And you can see, okay, we can adjust the arm space there because we got some intersections going. And we say, okay, that's looking good. Let's maybe give ourselves a few more frames. of this walk. You can also have it walk in place if it's on a treadmill. I don't know. But basically all we want to do is download this, and we'll click OK. And that will download as walking FBX. Okay. So if we go into Cinema 4D here, boop, and let's just bring that in. So I'm just going to open this project. There's walking, and click OK. And basically we still have those issues with the mesh, but we don't even have to worry about that. All we want to do is we have these joints. And if we go to our timeline, I'm going to hit Shift F3. You can see on all of these joints, we have all of this animation. There's a keyframe on every frame. And basically that's all we want is just the animation from these joints. And we can actually apply it to our mesh or to our joints in our other project file. So what I want to do is just basically take this animation track, save it, and then import it to our other project file, original project file where we did all the weight painting stuff. So what I can do is go to animate, and I'm going to go to add motion clip. And basically what I can do now is just rename this to walking. And basically what I'm going to do is save this animation as a separate file. Okay. Or as a clip, a video clip or something like that. And I just want to include the position, rotation, and that's about it. And I'll click OK, and you'll see, okay, now we have this motion system tag. And if I go to open in timeline, you can see here is it's almost like a video track in Premiere or something like that, that I can adjust this. I can stretch this out and make it like even slower. So I can like retime my animation here, which is really cool. But basically all I want to do here is just literally right click on this walking motion source and save this as a source of motion. I'm going to save this motion track out, and I'll do that, and I'll just rename this as walking, and it's going to save it as a C4D SRC file. Do that, and then I'll go into my other file here and actually go to the nicer one here. And basically what I want to do with this is use this rig here and have this blend into that walking rig. Okay, so what I can do is go into my rig right here. Actually, is this mapped? Okay, yeah, that's mapped. Okay, and I want to make this into a motion clip, so I can save that into a clip, bring the other clip in, and then kind of like almost cross dissolve between those two animation tracks. So on this object right here, I'll go to animate, add motion clip. So same thing here. This is the dance, hip hop dance, hippity hop dance, and everything's fine. It's going to bake out all of that animation and save it into this motion clip here. So I'll just go click on that, go to open in timeline, and you'll see here, okay, there is our motion clip. And there is our hip hop dance now represented as a motion clip or like an animation or like a video footage file or something like that I can speed up or slow down, whatever I want to do. You can see how I'm like speeding up the time. This will really go in overdrive now. So whoa. Let me undo that. And let me give myself a little bit more time here in my timeline. And basically what I want to do is mix this hip hop dance into the walk. Okay, so what I can do is right click in this menu that I used to save out the motion source in the other one and just go to load motion source. And there's my walking C4D source file. Open that up. And basically we just like imported footage into this project file. So what I can do now is I can move this hip hop dance track down in the timeline, and I can just drag and drop this walking clip right into here. And now you can see that. Let me get my other clip here right there. And so now if I hit play, let's move this down, reorientate this. I'll hit F8 to play. And you can see that basically we just went from walking to the dance, which that's not that great. But what you can do is you can actually blend between these two And so I can like go into this, and you can see on my timeline, there's that like curve, like that blending curve. We're doing like a cross dissolve. And now what you'll see is now we're kind of like dissolving between or blending between those two animations. Now this does not look great because of course the walking is moving forward, and you can even see that, okay, this is the end part of this animation right here. Okay. So how do we fix this? Well, how we can fix this is we basically need to change the starting position of where this dance is taking place. And to do that, what I'm going to do is click on the motion track that I want to edit and move. And I'm going to go to advanced, and I'm going to say create pivot. And what this is going to do is create this pivot object where if I move this around, it can move the actual position of my animated object. And you can see that the axis is kind of like off orientated. So what I'm going to do is go into my axis modification, or go in my world tool. And now I can just move this straight along the Z and just try to match up the like where this guy is to where that other wireframe skeleton is right here. So I'm just going to move this a little bit forward because that's where the end of the walk is. And now with any luck, I can blend these two together. And we should have him walking, and then he just kind of like he gets to the end point and just starts jamming out, right? So super cool how you can, and this is how you can blend together like all of those different animations and movements that you saw in that short film. And like this is how you can make a short film or do the entire Thriller dance, which is really, really fun. Another thing I want to show is that you could just literally actually, I guess I should ask how much time do I have left? Because I'm like 11 o'clock. So is anyone telling me? Jason? I'll keep going until someone shuts me up. Okay. Oh, I said, how much more time do I have? How much longer do you want me to go? Okay. I can be done if you want me to be done. 5 minutes? Okay, I got 5 minutes to do this one thing. All right, thank you. All right, I've been told by the higher ups I have 5 minutes. So let me show you one thing where you have these movements, and let me actually go back to Mixamo here real quick. And I want to show you like one of the characters that you can download here. Let me just clear out the characters. Let me search for dance. So there's one of these dance characters here that's really cool. And basically you can just have, let me zoom out here. Zoom me out. Let's do this pan, let's do the orbit. Where are you? There you are. Pan. So they aren't the best. Like I wish I could just, do the orbit tool in Cinema 4D. But yeah. But there's a character's walking. Basically what you could do is you could just save that, download that, import that into Cinema 4D. Let's go to here. Where is it? Is it this? It's not that. Oh, there it is. Yep. So here's the character, and just literally brought this in to Cinema 4D. Now there's one really weird thing that when you bring in a Mixamo animation, it brings it in as a take. So what you want to do, and that can screw things up, but it'll prevent you from manually keyframing things because a take just kind of locks everything unless you manually override. So what you can do is go on your take and just go to File, Current Take to New Document, and it'll open up that that take into its own new Cinema 4D file. And then, if you clicked on any of your objects, you could keyframe them. Before, this would have been all locked. Okay. Now, what I'm going to use to, you can see on this walking animation that we have this really bad intersection going on there. And, we can't really edit any of these motion tracks unless we literally go into our timeline and like try to grab like some of these keyframes, and like you'll just screw up the entire animation, right? So you don't want to do that. Luckily, there is something called Mixamo Control Rig in Cinema 4D. I think it was introduced in R21 or 2021, I think. And basically what it allows you to do is bring in a Mixamo animation, and then it will give you the ability to like move the, like spread the feed out so there's no more intersections. You can have a lot more control, a layer of control on top of your rig. And it's fairly easy to set up. So what I'm going to do is go to my character menu, go to character, and just choose the Mixamo control rig here, and just grab a root, pelvis. I'm going to hold the control and shift key down to grab both arms and legs, and then go to my arm and leg, or both of my arms, add some hands. Now there's one very important step I have to do first, and that is to go into my weight tag on my character and say reset bind pose. And this will get us to our T pose, which is where we'll actually be able to have this linking of all of the controllers that are coming from the Mixamo control rig, and apply it to our character here. So if I go to adjust, you actually see all of those controllers just snap to where our character bones are, which is really cool. And you see this little message down here saying knees should bend forward. What does that mean? Well, when you bring in a Mixamo animation, the legs are completely straight, and Cinema 4D doesn't know like which way that natural preferred angle of bending should go. So this is where you will select one of these little component dots. I'm going to hold the 7 key down and move this forward. And what this allows you to do is move an object without affecting the children. And I'm just going to move this forward just slightly, because now we have this slight bend, and now Cinema 4D knows like, okay, this is the angle in which the knee should bend. You don't want it to bend backwards, okay? And now what we can do is go to the animate tab here, and it'll dump you into this retarget whole circle object here. I'm just going to fold all of this stuff up, but this is like a new joint hierarchy, all the controllers. And basically what you need to do is like, okay, what's the name of all of these joints? And most of the Mixamo rig joints are named Mixamo rig. So that namespace is what the character object's going to look for to kind of attach these new controllers to the Mixamo rig. So all we need to do is just say retarget all of the joints in the character object to retarget to these Mixamo joints. And then we just need to transfer the weights from this object here to the character object. So I'll transfer weights, and now with any luck, we should be able to hit play. And now we have our character with all of these controllers here, which is really cool. And now what we can do is I can select this leg, come on, and just kind of move it. Let's go here. There we go. And just move this, okay, which is really awesome. And we can go in like, you know, maybe we want to rotate the head like this. Maybe she's looking up while she's walking. And we can even like add another layer of animation on top of this as well. Another thing we can do is like, here's the top of the head, like here. And what we could do, if I hit S to scroll to this active controller here, here's the head control. We can actually attach objects, like we can have this character hold things, or maybe it's wearing a hat. And actually, let's do that. Let's have this character hold something. So there's the left hand. Let's add a cylinder here. And we're just going to place this right here. This will be my last trick I show. Put this right here. So we just want to attach this to the hand. So what we'll do is we'll have this controller right here. There we go. Come on. So left hand control, I'm going to hold the shift key down to select the object that I want to parent to it. And I'm going to go to character constraint, add parent constraint. And whoops, I did that backwards. So let me undo that. So actually it's the other way around. You want to have the object selected first. Then what do you want to parent it to, which is this object right here. Then you go to character constraints, add parent constraint. And what this should do, yay, is have this object be parented to this controller. And there's something to know about priorities where you can kind of see this kind of flopping back and forth. And why that's happening is that Cinema 4D calculates from the top to the bottom. And what's actually happening is this cylinder is trying to parent to this moving object, but it's calculating the cylinder first and then the animation. So then it's having to calculate again, and that's why there's this lag. So what you want to do is just place the cylinder last in the stack, and this will be calculated last. And now there won't be any of that lag because now the priorities are all set. And now you can see that we can move this arm out so this isn't intersecting. We can also adjust if we select the arm control, you do like a twist, and there's all these little controls inside here. There's the fingers. You can rotate the fingers and all this stuff, and this is pretty amazing, right? So Mixamo control rig, Mixamo allows a non-character artist to be able to animate characters, add characters to your art, and hopefully you kind of got inspired to get into using characters and learning more about character rigs. That'll do it from me. Thank you.
Thank you, EJ.
Thank you very much, EJ.
So
Thank
you guys.
This was really incredible.
Yeah, it was really great.
It really shows a whole bunch of new things that people can do with these tools.
Awesome. Yes, that's what I try to do is, remove the intimidation from this type of work,
Maybe we could organize a competition in the future because, we started to make these rendering competitions on our channel. Maybe we'll make one where people have to create a funky dance animation and
do their own short film or something.
Yeah, and
that's a good idea.
They'll know where to go in order to get
it's a dance off. Yeah, just do a dance off.
So I would love to have some time for questions, but we need to move on to the next presenter. But if you stick around for a couple of minutes, maybe if someone asks a question in the comments, you can.
Oh, of course.
You could give them an
I'm
answer.
happy to stick around.
Yeah.
Also, let me just remind those who are watching from home that talking about rendering competitions, the CG Architects Awards, the 3D Awards, the deadline is on September 22nd. So you basically still have 25 days to hand in your project, and this will be a great chance for you to get your work seen by loads of professionals. And that's it. Just head out to the CG Architect website and you'll find more information there.
Yeah.
EJ, thanks a lot for your time. Sorry that we had to cut you so abruptly.
Oh, no. I just want to say
the next speaker. Sorry.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, like I said off the top, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter or Instagram or whatever. I'll answer the questions there, but appreciate everyone sticking around, and thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor. Hopefully I can see you guys in person next year.
Yeah, thank you.
We would love to have you in Vienna.
Okay,
awesome.
We'll take a short break, maximum 5 minutes, get the next presenter set up, and then we'll be right back with you guys. With you,
see you in a bit.
All of you.
Ooh, welcome back, people. Jason, are you excited about the next speaker?
As excited as I am for every speaker at the D2.
Now,
But yeah, of course I'm excited.
This to me
Always
is
excited.
a very big deal because I've always tried to bring him to the D2, and I spoke to him quite a few years ago, and now it's almost like a little dream coming true to have him on our event. He's a senior concept artist at Microsoft. He's been working for companies like Sony Pictures, for 20th Century Fox. He's been working for NASA. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big virtual applause to Mr. Ben Mauro. We need to hire actors to applaud, because we're alone here.
Hi,
Ben.
hi Ben.
Okay. Hey.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh yeah, thank you
Fantastic.
guys for inviting me.
I know it's kind of early for you.
Yeah, it's a little early, so bear with me.
On the other side of the
slow.
US.
We're a little
Yeah.
bit over time in terms of schedule, so we're just going to maximize your screen, and then
Sure.
the virtual stage, it's yours.
Sure, let me share screen. Hide my face.
And don't worry, you have the full amount of time, no problem. We're not
Okay.
going to rush you or
Cool.
anything. So
I'll do a quick little intro of some of my work if
Okay.
you guys haven't seen my work, and
Okay.
then I want to do a kind of just dive right into Blender and do some cool like taking, maybe you blocked out a scene, but you wanted to turn it into more of like a
I
cinematic
thought
film
maybe I
looking thing. So I just want to like show a process to do that and some cool tricks to like get something looking pretty more cinematic. I'm Ben Mauro. I'm a senior concept designer and art director in the game and film industry for probably the past 12 years. And I'll just go through some stuff. Here's some of the projects I worked on. Currently, I'm working on Halo Infinite the past couple of years, and it's been really fun. Some of the clients I worked for over the years, and just a little overview of some of the work I've done. You can see more on my ArtStation and all that good stuff. But huge range of subjects. I have a ton of interests, from creatures, sci-fi, to stylized characters and aliens and all that good stuff. The last couple of years, I've been working on an original graphic novel called Huxley, and just each page is quite detailed, so that's been taking up most of my free time. And got some really cool stuff coming later this year. So if you want to stay up to date and stuff, check out huxleysaga.com, and a bunch of cool stuff coming later this year. That's all I can say. And so Blender, I don't know if you guys use this or not, but this kind of changed my work and my workflows a couple of years ago, and just led to a lot of really exciting things that I couldn't have done otherwise. Some of the plugins I'll be using today are Starlight, Scatter, Botanic, Photographer, Box Cutter, Hardops, Kidops. And some of the 3D asset libraries I'd recommend that I'm using some of today are Kitbash 3D's new Brooklyn pack, Big, Medium, Small, one of their soldiers, Megascans, Quixel Mixer, some stuff from CG Traders, and 3D Scan Store. So with that, let's go into Blender. So last night I just put together a kind of post-apocalyptic looking scene. And let me see if this is. Is this smoother? I think so. Okay, cool. So last night I mocked up this kind of post-apocalyptic street scene, and that's okay. You kind of just have default sunlight. There's no atmosphere. There's no like grass or overgrowth or anything. And so some of these assets are like from like CG Trader and things like this, just kind of broken post-apocalyptic cars. These buildings and things are kit bash. This street texture I made custom in Quixel Mixer, which is a really cool program if you guys haven't tried that yet. It basically allows you to create any texture you want. So like if you go to Megascans, there's like a default. They have like, oh, this is our concrete or something, right? But Mixer allows you to create infinite amount of variations of that, and it's super easy to just, I want this concrete to be like super wet or halfway wet, or I want it to be super destroyed or not very destroyed. And it just allows you to create exactly what you need for your shot instead of relying on maybe a default thing and then everything kind of looks the same. So that's how I went about creating this kind of wet concrete that's a little dirty in some areas, but not super dirty in other areas. And then just kind of our post-apocalyptic guy. So the first thing I would do, I kind of want to do like a Last of Us kind of thing. So the first thing I would do is probably add some atmosphere. So if we go to our world, we can just plug in the atmosphere into the node and kind of get some nice moody mist to get some depth to the scene. And also while I'm working, I'm totally cool if you guys want to ask questions or anything. And the second thing will probably be getting some grass and plants in here. Actually, first, let's play around with lighting a little bit. So, default sunlighting is okay in some cases, but there's a lot of cool stuff in Blender. This plugin called Starlight allows you to just easily adjust the sunlight. And just having things in real time is just so valuable and so fast, So we can just get, an epic, more dramatic lighting, sunset, stuff like that. But again, things like this before I was only doing 2D. So if someone told me, oh, I like this, but, let's change it to nighttime, that would be like a whole ordeal. And now you just have to change a few sliders and you can get some really cool, dramatic, different time of day, different lighting. I can make the lighting cooler, warmer, get that kind of nice sunset, golden hour look, if that's what I want to go for. Since Last of Us is kind of very realistic, we'll probably go with a little bit more of a cooler lighting. Maybe I'll change the color of the fog a little bit. Also, another thing that's pretty cool is, when you use 3D, you just kind of have a sunlight or whatever, and unless you want to have, to get some nice cloud shadows, which just helps make things much more realistic. One of the things I like to do is use a plane with a noise or a musgrave texture on it. And this allows you to have just a editable cloud card, which allows you to have some nice like cast shadows from clouds above to start getting a really naturalistic looking soft shadows in your scene. And again, just get a lot more cinematic really easily. Maybe get a cloud covering our character in the foreground to help him pop out a little bit. But I have like 2 or 3 big kind of clouds in this texture on this plane, but I can increase the density so it's a lot of small clouds, and basically get whatever I want really fast. And so the next thing I want to do is use one of my favorite plugins called Scatter to create some cool grass in the scene. So we get some nice overgrowth and plants and things growing through. So I basically just have to pick the plane that I want the grass to be on. And it has a bunch of custom biomes built in. So let's go with this kind of really overgrown grass biome and give it a second. And we get a ton of grass, which is really cool. So you can see like this is all on the scene, but the scale is kind of off. Like these are like, you know, this is like a little dandelion, but it's kind of giant. So I want to change that a little bit. And it usually spawns the asset towards the center of the scene. And I can just bring that over to where my scene is. Yes. Yeah, right now I have 2 2080 Ti. Oh, yeah, Jason asked me about hardware, or someone was asking about hardware. I have 2 2080 Ti, but EV is basically like a game engine. So it only, or at least at the moment, it only uses 1 GPU. So I basically just have 1 2080 Ti. And then I have a 32 core Threadripper, but I don't think EV really utilizes CPU at the moment. But so yeah, mainly just the 2080 Ti is handling the scene. But I've run stuff like this on laptops when I've had to do demos and things, and it's run pretty good. The EV seems to be handle things pretty well. But you can see I'm scaling that asset off to the side, and I can basically adjust in real time. You know, do I want really big overgrowth? Do I want like giant overgrowth? It just becomes kind of fun. Like that's one of the just exciting things about Blender the last couple of years. Is like it kind of made it just feels like I'm playing with toys or playing a video game. In my head, at least, it doesn't feel like work so much. So it's been pretty cool. These dandelions feel really out of scale, so let's scale those down. Yeah. And this grass is kind of out of scale too. Maybe get that a little smaller. though it does look kind of cool, really big. So right now it only kind of extends right here, but let's get it, this grass plane a little further into the scene. Check our camera. It's starting to look pretty cool. Stuff's getting overgrown. And you can adjust all this pretty easily as well in the scatter settings, each one individually, if you want more of one type of grass or another. Let's see. Yeah, that's starting to look pretty cool. And now I want to get some like more overgrown trees and stuff in there because a little, I mean, it's still pretty cool, but it's still a bit empty. And for that, I like to use another plugin called Botanic, which basically just has like a huge library of like trees in summer, trees in winter. So I love using pine trees everywhere, but in a city, it's probably not the most common thing you'd see. So maybe some kind of smaller trees like this that would grow off the sides near buildings, but over time they probably got a lot bigger. Or maybe some of these ponderosa trees. Let's try one of these other ones. Can even use some of these as like more like bush. Get it down a little more. Help break up some of the shapes. And maybe start obscuring some of these buildings and things. Just so everything's not so perfect. Maybe we get some sort of bigger tree back here. Or a couple bigger trees for more of a focal point and get some cast shadows and things. Maybe that could work. Maybe a little bit further back in front of this highway back here. So it kind of becomes more of like you being a landscape artist, landscape architect. I mean, it's kind of the same thing how I would do it normally, but you're kind of stuck doing that in Photoshop and scouring the internet for photos. And for me, this just feels way more logical and way more straightforward, just kind of building it, like you're kind of building the whole level. Which again just makes more sense to me, and it also saves a lot of time for everyone else because you can just kind of hand off, okay, here's this downtown New York part of the game, here's the path for the player, maybe here's a couple points of interest for them to explore. I just kind of feel like this is kind of where things are headed. I feel like it's probably a good idea to kind of hop on this train, because I feel like this just makes so much sense as a workflow for what we do. Let's get some cash shadows on that truck. So that's starting to feel pretty good. Feeling pretty lived in. Maybe it's a little too empty there. There'd be more trees. Let's get some more trees back there. Maybe one of these. Like I'm starting to believe that this is an overgrown street, or it's getting pretty close to that. Maybe hide some of the stuff back there. A little too empty there as well. Get a little more variety. It's feeling a little too similar everywhere. And then we'll play with lighting a little more. Maybe one of these bushes is growing out of this car over here. Yeah, that's one of the really cool things is like a couple years ago, I had kind of done a lot of different things and used a lot of 2D techniques, and I was feeling a little burnt out or maybe kind of bored. And um, for whatever reason, Blender kept popping up, and I kept seeing all this cool stuff, and I just dove in, and it really got me excited about learning and making art again. Just learning all these new workflows. So, like if you're maybe in a similar place that I was a couple years ago, I definitely check it out, and it kind of rekindled the fire, artistic fire in me to experiment and explore and try new stuff. And because I was kind of had my head down working on my book the last couple of years, and I was like, no, any time that's not on the book is wasted time. And it actually ended up being the opposite, where I started doing all this stuff, at the office for work. And then I'd come home and I'd be like, oh, that scene I have to do for my book, this would be perfect. I could totally build some crazy set that I know how to do now. Whereas before I was struggling to like visualize it on 2D. And I still want to keep this style consistent, but it just allows for so many more possibilities. And all the stuff I'm doing personally and professionally is so much better because I have all these tools to help visualize things in much more detail and much bigger scale than I would ever have been able to do otherwise, or I would have been too intimidated to do just in Photoshop. So it's definitely helped me create images and artwork that I probably wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. Maybe one more big tree over here to cast some shadow. And that's another thing. I'm working in Eevee. Like if I want to do crazy final renders, I might switch to Cycles or Octane. But because so much of my work is really fast ideas, Eevee is just amazing. And the visual quality of the renders are still really good. And for most cases, it's just so much faster to render something off in like 7 seconds than, waiting 10 minutes or, half an hour or something for one render. So like if I can get, 20 images done in that hour instead of 1 or 2, it's kind of amazing and saves a bunch of time. If you're purely just wanting to do design, it's a huge time saver. And then if the director, whoever likes one particular shot or something, you can always go back and do a more detailed render or take the time to really make it great. Okay. So that's looking pretty overgrown. Let's experiment with some lighting. So this is kind of our shot area. And get a little more saturation in the sky. Maybe not that much. So what's cool about Starlight is it's basically replicating a real world sun. So you can kind of like do a lot of really interesting things with the lighting, creating it really intense or making the sun really giant, make it small, make there a ton of atmosphere, low atmosphere, basically making it like in space, or just gives you a ton of variety to play around with, and obviously go like crazy, overblown, high key kind of stuff. But that's also a cool thing about 3D and Blender in particular is it just allows you to experiment so much. Like maybe I had an idea what I wanted, but because I'm not locked into one composition in 2D, and then I'm stuck with that, and I have to just sit there detailing all day. If I want to change it, or if I want to, make it sunset or daytime, nighttime, it's just change a slider, But that's also kind of the pitfall is it's hard to know when to quit because it's so easy to just hit render and have a cool image now. I do think I like the cooler lighting. Okay, so another thing I wanted to show was, so this is looking cool, but there's kind of a lot of, it would help to get a little more atmosphere in here to help pop things out without generally putting atmosphere in the entire space, which I can just do in the volume scatter. So if like I did, like a 0.1, it just gets really foggy, which, I mean, that's cool too. But if I want to control it more, I can create individual volumes, which can be a little heavy, or there's other techniques like painting your own clouds or importing, say, like a photobash.org cloud alpha. But you can kind of, it's a little bit hacky, but it's basically like a cloud card to kind of pop things out where you want them. You can kind of put that in your scene. Like maybe I want to pop out that truck. I can just scale that down. Maybe there's some like mist or something coming out. I don't know if I'll use this, but I just wanted to show you as that's like a much more less taxing solution on your system. And can still get some pretty cool results. And because it's painted, it kind of creates a nice feeling as well. But yeah, you can just kind of move your hand-painted cloud card around your scene. But let's try importing a VDB. Which is just a 3D volumetric cloud. Blender recently added VDB support, which is really awesome. So now you don't have to always make a custom cloud volume out of a cube or something. You can just import a VDB from like Embergen or any of these kind of programs. I'm just going to open a scene where I have a VDB already open, so I don't have to search for a file on my network somewhere. And that's another cool thing about Blender is you can open up multiple instances really quick, and I can just copy paste, Control-C, Control-V into my scene, and it will just paste the object like in Photoshop or something. Give it a second. Make sure it's in there and close the other scene. Okay. So now we have a 3D volumetric cloud in our scene. You can kind of see it up here. I'll get into the center so we can start seeing it show up. Yeah, there we go. So now we have actual 3D fog volume that isn't just like a blank cube of mist. You kind of get a lot more naturalistic looking look to things. But I don't want it so white. Let me change the color a little bit to match our kind of atmosphere. Yeah, that's better. Maybe put this back to obscure some of the buildings. And maybe we'll copy that one more time to get something in the foreground coming in. What's cool is you can kind of like squash and stretch and scale this, so you can get just really wide range of effects for whatever you need. Maybe I just want a little bit in the foreground. Let's scale it down. Maybe a little creeping in on the left over there. Yeah, so getting a bit back there to help obscure some of those buildings instead of just painting it later. Again, I'm kind of obsessed with just being able to like hit the render button and I'm done. So I try to find ways that aren't too taxing on the system. VDBs can definitely be a little taxing, but it's not too bad. But definitely maybe something to say towards the end. But yeah, just being able to have some extra mist or irregular smoke and things really help start selling a kind of scene like this. Or maybe we move that into the midground. But bring it down lower. It's kind of cool. We get a little more, some kind of point of interest in there. It's feeling a little, I mean, it's not too bad, but just maybe a little more value breakup. Yeah, you can just see how quickly you can mock all this stuff up and just get a pretty realistic looking scene with some basic assets. Like these aren't, just a couple buildings repeated, a couple cool plugins and things, and you can do whatever you want, really, which is the exciting part. It just kind of opens up a lot of doors. Sorry, I'm just trying to select this camera. There we go. Just play with lenses to see maybe if we can get more of the scene in there with a 30 millimeter, which is pretty cool actually. Another cool thing is you can play with depth of field. So we want our soldier guy to be the focal point. You can get some really nice depth of field within EV. It's a nice kind of like digital bokeh. Just start looking pretty cool. And you can, of course, adjust all that. So if we just want this to be about him, maybe a little bit less depth of field. Yes. So Jason asked how long it took me to get comfortable in Blender. I had I mean, I kind of learned like Modo a little bit, but it always felt a little too overly complicated for me. And some of the other packages were always too complicated. So I kind of like Modo was crazy big for a while and all my friends were using that and I just couldn't get into it. And for whatever reason, Blender, like Jama Jarabev in particular, released some tutorials and there's like an intro to Blender and I pretty much just watched it on Saturday. And by the end of that long Saturday going through that video, I was using it at the office on Monday. So it really just took like a day. And I don't know if it's because I've used things in the past, but for whatever reason, everything in Blender just like, it just made sense. I don't know. It's like, yeah, that's there. That completely makes sense to me. Or like everything in the program just for whatever reason made sense. Whereas other programs, it just felt like, why is that there? Why does that button do that? And I don't know. It was just something clicked like, yeah, this makes sense. I can do this. It just felt like there was like this one button does this one thing, whereas other programs it felt like these 10 steps does this one thing, and I was like, oh, that's too much work. It's too complicated for me.
Yeah, I had them turn my mic on so that people can hear me also.
Oh, sure.
So I don't have to repeat what I ask you.
Sure.
When did you start actually using it, or when was it? Around what time?
I guess like late 2018.
Okay.
Whenever I started at 343 is when I like just started picking it up because I just saw its value in a production environment, especially, and yeah, just being able to do. I mean, earlier on, I wasn't creating crazy, dense, complicated stuff as quickly as I can now, but it was like, oh, it just leads you down a rabbit hole of experimenting and like, oh, what does that do? How do I do that? And then you learn one little thing, and then it kind of connects all these other dots you've been learning where you're like, oh, now I can make some crazy Last of Us scene in 40 minutes or whatever.
Yeah,
whereas
it's
before,
amazing.
Whereas before I would have been like, how do I even do that? Like that would take me like months or something. And now it's just like,
this was before the more recent release, which is when everybody was really saying, "Oh, this is really amazing." The new release, I can't remember what number it was, 2.8 or whatever.
Yeah. I think I got in at the very end of 2.79, so it wasn't as easy as it is now. But even then, it still made a lot of sense to me. But all the things that were kind of a little frustrating or slightly too complicated, they fixed in 2.8, and each release they just update it so fast and fix things so fast. It's kind of amazing. Like even just rendering in the EV, which is a 2.8 thing, but even cycles, like the amount of improvements in cycles, all these like NVIDIA optics updates and stuff, like it's almost like you don't have to upgrade all your hardware as much because they improve the render times so much, like from a software standpoint. So like, say like a 10-minute render, they improve EV they improve cycles and it cuts the render time down like 40% just with that update, or they add all these things, and it's just really impressive. It just feels like you're on a rocket ship and just like they keep updating everything. You're like, whoa, it's so much faster now.
Yeah, but how much time do you need? Because we have a couple more questions.
Sure. Yeah. That's totally cool.
One of them is, what do you think is the biggest disadvantage of using Blender versus other softwares like Cinema or Maya or Modo?
I guess I haven't really used the other ones so much, so I wouldn't be able to give you like an exact pro and con, but like just the fact that Blender is free like forever. I have friends who are like, yeah, but this program, they lowered their price now. I'm like, yeah, but it's still not free, man. That's still not $0. Like, especially for students, like if I had this when I was a student or got into this, like that would have been incredible. Like a free program that allows me to make like a Last of Us concept in 40 minutes as a student, like that's incredible.
Yeah.
And I don't, I just have to pay money for maybe some plugins that aren't even that, it was like 20 bucks or whatever. Not a big deal at all. It's just amazing. And because it's free, there's so many tutorials and things on YouTube. Like if I get stuck on something, it's like, how do I do this in Blender? And there's like 5 million answers to that question. Whereas other programs, there's like a big paywall, and it's like everything's hidden behind a $100 paywall or something. Like, oh, you want to know how to do this thing in this really complicated program? Well, give me $100 or something. Whereas Blender, I just feel like it's just like open source, open information everywhere, which is, I don't know, it's just really cool. It's just a very different thing that I've been used to in the past, and
So,
I feel like that's a really cool thing.
yeah, someone else asked, and I think you already answered this just by saying that you have, how quickly you were able to adapt to it, because someone else asked about, moving from 3ds Max to that, and will it make things better and faster? I mean, I don't think you can really, it's hard to answer, but since you said you didn't use Max.
Yeah. Like there's definitely, I definitely see some friends using other programs, and there's definitely things that are more complicated, but I feel like, or it can do, I would say the only thing that some of the other legacy software does better is like undos. Blender's getting better, but it's still, like if you undo too much, it doesn't like that. I think they coded it in a strange way where like, I can't remember the exact wording of how they coded it, but it basically like, it's pretty slow when you try to undo things in a giant scene, whereas I think Max and some of the other programs, you can just do that all day. But then also you have to wait like half an hour for Max to open or something. So I can handle like a crash or two sometimes if I'm undoing, instead of waiting like 10 minutes for another program to open, where I can just open Blender in 5 seconds and render out an image in 5 seconds. And it's like,
so I don't see any more questions, but how, do you need a couple minutes to finish up, or are you pretty much done?
I'm just kind of playing at this point.
Okay.
Like just seeing what else we could do. Like it gets to this point where it's like, now I'm a photographer. Like I built my little diorama, and now I'm like, oh, let's get another camera. Let's, let's see what's over there. And that's kind of where it becomes fun,
Because like, we're getting down to the end of the time now, and
sure.
So I mean, if you've got something else you'd like to show really quickly, we can do that.
No, I think that's kind of it. Just showing how fast this is for production stuff, and any concept artists who are purely 2D on the fence, or ArchViz people who are maybe using other stuff that's, takes all day to make something that you could do in a 20 minutes in this program, is see the benefits.
Yeah, definitely. So then if that's it, you can unshare your screen, and we can
sure.
Oh, let me fix my screen.
Thank you very much, Ben. For doing this.
Oh, thanks, guys. Yeah,
this was amazing to see you working in the program, and to see how quickly you can put things together. It's really eye-opening to us, and to me as well.
It's mesmerizing to see people at work working on 3D things.
Yeah, I've done enough talks and things where it's like, okay, people are probably sick of me talking about stuff. let's just do something cool.
I like your T-shirt also.
What does it say?
I have to get one of those
for my graphic novel. Yeah, I mean on the website I have the red cover and the orange cover, and it should be available through Amazon US and UK.
Perfect
for anyone in those kind of regions. Amazon just prints it, and the quality's pretty cool. And
perfect.
Yeah, I'm trying to slowly build that.
I understand.
Like, I have a day job, so it's like I only have so much time a day, but I'm trying to finish. I'm in the middle of finishing the book. Hopefully, end of the year, I'll have it all finally done after.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
4 years.
Yeah, I'm sure you're looking forward to it.
A lot of time. It was a long time.
Will it be available as a printed version?
Ideally, I want to do a printed version.
Okay.
I'm trying to, once I have it all done, I'll weigh the pros and cons of what's if a digital release makes more sense initially, or I love old French
Yeah, me
graphic
too. I
novel
would
and
like
stuff. So
to
I'd
have
love
it.
to just have I want to have my Akira in my hand.
Yeah.
A printed book would be great.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes that can take a while, if you go with a
Yes.
publisher and then it's like, okay, we can fit that into our schedule 2022, and you're just like, okay. So I'll just see. I'll see what makes the most sense. And,
Okay, Ben, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you
Thank you guys
so
so
much
much.
for joining us and being a part of the D2. We really appreciate it. And everybody is saying thank you and great work, and very happy to see what you've done there. So we're going to sign off now and bring on our next speaker. So we'll need a 5-minute break
5 minutes
to get
break.
everything set up. Thanks again, Ben. And
Yeah, thank you guys.
we'll talk again soon, okay?
Yeah, thanks guys.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Good night and see
Have a
you
good
guys.
Friday.
You
Yeah,
too.
thanks.
And see you guys in about 5 minutes. We'll be back with the last lecture. Are we live?
Is it live?
Gene, are you there?
Yeah, is it live?
Yes.
Is it live?
Yes.
Okay.
You're
It's
live.
Jean-Luc.
It's you.
It's Jean-Luc. It's Jean-Luc.
It's Jean-Luc. Sorry.
It's Jean-Luc. Okay. So, what I want to talk about tonight is a brand new software. Let's be honest, guys. So far, it was not very interesting what we've seen. It was mostly boring, and I think it's important that now we are looking toward the future. So the technology that I'm about to present tonight is a technology that took nearly 10 years to develop. I think it's ready now, and well, let me share my screen so you can see what it's all about. Hold on, I have to click. I have to click. Hold on, I have to click. Hold on, I'm clicking. Okay, no, it's not the right click. Okay, it's clicking now. Okay, no. Okay, I will click. No. Okay, sorry, it's difficult. Okay, so I think we're ready now. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, are you seeing the screen? Okay, so the software that I'm about to talk about is called Narvalo 3D 2000. It's because we started the development in 2000, and because we were so occupied that we never thought about changing the name, but that's not important. So it's a software that has been developed by a French company called Boudet, that is having offices all around the world, and the main office is near Paris. That's the guy who developed the idea of the software. It is very, very famous all around the world. Raymond Trace, that probably a lot of you are knowing under a different name, but Raymond was really the guy that had the idea of the software that I'm going to demonstrate tonight. It was an amazing guy. Unfortunately, he died, but his spirit's still with us. That's the team at Boudet. So as you can see, we have all sorts of people. We have gays and women, a lot of women, and some black dudes as well. Although not very important in the hierarchy. In the back on the right, you can see the boss. Obviously, is white. Okay, let me start directly now. The technology that we are going to see tonight is Narvalo 3D 2000.1. It's a fruit engine. It's let me finish the movie. So it's a technology that is available right now, but it's only in SketchUp for 3ds Max. So it means that there is a SketchUp plugin that is embedded in 3ds Max and is permitting to run Narvalo straight from SketchUp from 3ds Max. It's an amazing technology. This only took 9 years to develop because you benefit from all the advantages of SketchUp and the advantages of 3ds Max, which are numerous. This is a quick introduction with all the technology that we are using. Are you? Okay, so as you have seen, there is a lot of critical technological advancement that has been made into Narvalo. A lot of them are really dedicated to speed. So I'm going to do a little demo, so you will see, you know, or it's working for real. First, I want to show you or you can use Narvalo 3D. So we are going to have a quick look at the interface. So it's a very simple interface. All the parameters you can see, and what is very, very convenient is that, as you can see here, the most important function will be outlined with different colors. So it means that you understand immediately what is critical to what is not critical. It's a great help. It's kind of an embedded help system into the software. So you always know what you're doing. But because we want to make it simple for newbies, we also have created a simplified interface. You can have a different size for the windows, and there will be different modes. So there is the default mode that you don't have to think too much about. There is the advanced mode. There is the expert mode, and this is the Titan mode that uses a very, very, very small font. And because we are having a partnership with Microsoft, you can have the help of, you know, the little, I don't know what it's called in English, but it's called a trombone in France. It will help you finding the right settings for the job. One incredible function from Narvalo 3D is that you can have render settings per pixel. So it means that every pixel in your renders can have a different render setting. If you take the image that is here, it has been computed with 256 different render settings because there are a lot of pixels. And this is a major improvement in the way you're working, because normally you are working only with one setting, but here you can work with an infinity of settings, actually as many settings as there are pixels in the render that you want to do. And of course, you can use the Titan mode if it is necessary. So let's render. Let's do a quick test. I hope it will work, because it's really it's just a brand new version. It's the 2001, but it should work. So I'm going to render an ensemble of fruits, and you will see how fast it is compared to regular renders. So you can see in the background, you have the interface of SketchUp in 3ds Max, and you can see the render. So at first, what is nice in that we have programmed is that there is a change of colors. You are never bored. You can also look at the screen, and the colors will change with the colors of the rainbow, which helps a lot when you don't know what to do. So you can see it's pretty fast. It's only 12 seconds, and the image is computed like a good third already. So some people are saying that it's 1,000 times faster than V-Ray, but I think it's not exactly that, but it's not far from being that. Just wait a little. We are starting already to see the shapes of the fruits. And what is nice is that at render time, you can also eat a fruit because it's full of vitamin. See now, you can see the fruits, the shape very, very, very much better. See, only 30 seconds. It's extremely fast. It's blazing fast. It's because of the bump fuzzle render. So 35 seconds nearly to have a fruit basket. I mean, this is amazing. And you know that in architecture, in ArchViz, the industry is very, very eager to show fruit baskets in many occasions. See, it's less than a minute. In less than a minute, you have a perfectly realistic render of a fruit basket. Voila, see, it's done. 44 seconds. And 44 seconds. Now, there are lots of technology that we also choose to embed into Narvalo. One of them, to give more realism, although it's already quite realistic, is the fog. So we have also a fog render that permits to create depth to the fruit. And it's also amazingly fast. Let's wait. It will take probably it's going to be even faster than the other one, like 30 seconds. See, you don't see the shape yet. It's because of the fog. It's the fog is creating this blurriness. It's difficult to understand, but you will see when it's over. It's going to be amazing. All this with a technology. What is important to understand, because we have a bit of time to discuss about it, is how much we spend time to make it faster. It's the most important was actually to deliver speed to the users. A lot of fruits are taking time to render, but in that case, it's amazing. It's kind of real time, but a bit slower than real time. That was exactly what Raymond Trace told us. He said real time's too fast. It's better if it's real time, but not as fast as real time. Voila, we are nearly there. See, 30 seconds. It's blazing fast, blazing fast. I don't want people to go too fast into the future because it's uncertain. And nobody likes things that are uncertain. So see, you can see the shape now. And look at the depth. It's the most photorealistic depth that has been probably done in a render engine. It's crazy. Even I am amazed by the technology and how efficient it is when you have to render fruits in the fog. On short notice, which is very often, we have listened to the users and very often they are saying, okay, we don't have time. We don't have, clients are pressuring us. How can we have a kitchen to render? And how can we have fruits faster? And this is exactly what our team has been trying. So you see more or less how it's working. So it's you just load 3ds Max, then you load SketchUp, and then in SketchUp you load Narvalo 3D, and up you start rendering. It's that simple. It's that simple. But there is more. This is important, that it's just not only what you have seen. There is a lot more. So there is a very, very, very powerful zoom that is 128,000%. So it means that you can nearly see inside the fruit. It's I don't think any software is zooming more than Narvalo. There is also, so there is a lot of exports. You can export to a lot of different formats, but the best is JPEG 2000. You can also export to black and white, and also, because it's very popular amongst youngsters these days, you can export straight to GIF. Although it's a static GIF. So if you want to do an animation, you have to move the camera render, 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 and then you have a GIF with 12 frames. But it's super fast, so it's not a big deal. This is something that we are going to address in the next release. Or is it working? So at the very beginning, when you buy the software, you have a huge library that is mostly an apple and some bananas. But then there is an in-app purchase that permits you to buy fruits from the season straight from the app. I will give you an example. For example, let's say in summer in the North Hemisphere, and then you just have to click and you can buy peaches, for example, and then you can render peaches super fast. I mean, it's just a matter of sending a few emails and then it will be delivered straight in your mail. Narvalo 3D is delivered in your mail as well, in a banana-shaped USB key, because we believe in the power of USB. It's the plan is very simple. There is a subscription. There are subscription plans. So there is really literally everything for everyone. It is very comprehensive. It is very easy to understand. So there is you have 3 fruits, or you can have up to 5 fruits, and every fruit is only $8,200. And then there are little costs that you will see, but you will receive a very, very comprehensive contract by fax that will explain you exactly how it works. Okay? Do know that we are listening to you 5 hours per day on Monday. So if there is anything that you need to know, you can call us 1 day per week on Monday for 5 hours. So I know that you are pretty excited already. I think that it's important that you know that we are not stopping there. I know it sounds incredible, but we are not stopping there. We have big plans for Narvalo 3D. So the one thing that we wanted to do is to have Narvalo 3D in V-Ray, in SketchUp, in 3ds Max. So you can mix the render. So this is for example, this is a V-Ray render. Narvalo just goes into it, insert into it. You click, and Narvalo will start render the fruit basket separated from V-Ray. And then it's just one more waiting, and you have a perfectly integrated fruit basket in V-Ray for SketchUp in 3ds Max. If it's not magical, I don't know what magical means. Also, we are going to to embed a program that is called Fruit Creator, which will permit users to create their own fruits. All sorts of fruits. I mean, sky is the limit now. You can do everything you want. Whatever fruits is in your mind, Narvalo 3D can help you create it. Even weird fruits. We accept all fruits. And there will be a user database where you will be able to upload your crazy fruits. Also, and this is a great news that I kept for the D2, we are going to team up with NVIDIA to create a card that is dedicated to Narvalo 3D. It's the Narvalo 2000 Ti GTX Selecten 2 HDMI edition. It's a very, very powerful card that will, kind of accelerate Narvalo 3D by at least 2. Also, we are porting it to metal. So it means that Narvalo 3D 2002 will be available on the Mac. We have a lot of Mac users. Mac users are eating a lot of fruits because they are in good health, way more than PC users, if you ask me. And we don't want to forget them. So we ported Narvalo to metal. Also, and this is also a big news, you will be able to render straight into Internet Explorer. So it means that you can render on the web. Do you understand that it means fruit basket on the network anytime? And last but not least, you will be able to export your HDMI without any additional hardware. Yes, you heard that right. Straight to HDMI without additional hardware. I know it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy if you ask me. Pretty crazy. Also, and this is another big news, we are teaming up with the people from Epic to bring it to Unreal Engine. So it means real-time fruits in Unreal. Not totally real-time. It's a bit slower than real-time because that's our philosophy. It's not as fast as real-time. It's a bit slower than real-time, but then it permits you to think. And if you ask us at Boudet what we think, is that people are not thinking enough. So that's why we want to permit them through a nearly real-time technology to think about life. Now, I think we are nearly arriving the end of this presentation, but I think it's very important that you are listening from other users. What are they are thinking about Narvalo 3D, and I think it's very exciting to see real professional having the experience of Narvalo 3D in their pipeline. So the first testimonial is from John Anderson from Mir, the very famous studio. Let's hear what he has to say. John, what do you have to say? I hope that you can read the subtitle because he's speaking Norwegian. So he is very excited about the bump fuzzle ray tracing. They said we earned like 2 million in 1 week. Now we are going to ask someone who knows exactly what render engines are. And it's Vlado from Virey. we work closely with them because there are a few technology that we are not ready. And Vlado will tell us what he thinks about. Yes, they are very worried because once you do fruits, you are not far from vegetables, and once you do vegetables, you are not far from doing buildings. Now, there is one last guest that has experimented it, and I think it says it all. Yes, it's George Lucas from Star Wars.
Hi, this is Hari Prasad. I'm looking at 4 years. First started with site supervisor start பண்ணேன். Then design தான் ஸ்கூல் ஆஃப் சொல்லிட்டு நிறைய டிசைன்லாம் வந்து ஒரு ஸ்டூடெண்ட் ஆஃப் பண்ண ஜாயின் பண்ணிட்டு அதுக்கப்புறம் வெறும் கேரியர் பண்ணிட்டு கேரியர் சஜெக்ட் பண்ண முடியல. அதாவது ஒரு ரிசர்ச் பாயிண்ட் ஆஃப் வியூ வரணும் அப்படின்ற போது நிறைய வந்து செல்ஃப் லேர்னிங் இன்ஸ்டியூட்ஸ்லாம் போயிட்டு அதை சுத்தமாக சானிடைசேஷன் இல்லாமல் ஒரு ஃபுல்ஃபில் இல்லாமல் இருந்தது. Like then I came over so academics for the Twitter, Facebook, and just like okay, so enjoy பண்ணி பார்க்கலாம்.
Well, I think this is where the presentation ends. I hope that you have been as amazed by Narvalo 3D as I am myself. And of course, if there are any questions, I will be more happy to answer them.
Yeah. So,
Hi, Jean-Luc.
Jean-Luc. Sorry, sorry for mispronouncing your name earlier. I'm American.
Okay.
I'm American.
Everybody is doing it. Foreigners, they suck.
Yeah, I know.
Jean-Luc, thank you very much. I'm really, really impressed with the presentation, and I think that I guess that the world of fruits really needed to be represented with their own engine, right? There are some questions from the people watching from home. Will you have like free licenses for teachers and educators and students?
Alors, no, because we don't like teachers and educators and students.
Seems fair.
So there is no price, no special pricing for them. But we can think about it. There are special prices for bats and pangolins.
Okay.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that for what?
There are special prices for bats and pangolins.
Okay, I see. I didn't understand that because of your accent.
No. Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, actually, your accent sucks as well. Huh?
It's much worse.
We have a very bad accent.
Jean-Luc, could you stop sharing your screen so we could speak together?
Face to face.
Well, I stopped it. Okay.
We were talking before getting ready, and we were asking what is that effect that you're using, and you told us there is a skin condition. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that with our guests?
I didn't get the question. Can you say it again?
I said we were talking before the event started, and I was asking you about the effect that you're using in the Zoom call, but you told us that it's a skin condition.
No, I don't. First, I don't really like that you are making fun of me. I have a green screen in Zoom, and as you can see, there is a green screen in my back, and this is what happened. So it's not a skin condition, and it's not funny. This is not okay. This is not okay. It is not okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, people with skin conditions, it's not funny, and you are making fun of them. Okay, this is not okay.
I'm sorry, Jean-Luc. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Now it's okay.
I apologize.
But before it was not okay. Now it's okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. You have a skin condition, you? Am I asking you?
I don't.
With you,
I don't. And I apologize to people with skin conditions.
So
Okay.
we have someone asked that they heard that the company was based in a banana republic, and is this true?
There is a Banana Republic?
They heard it was based in a banana republic, the company.
Now, I can feel sarcasm into, we spent a lot of time developing the software. So if people have stupid questions to ask, it's better that they stop doing it right now. I mean, it's late, I'm tired. We worked a lot. It's a lot of work to do a software, okay? It's very demanding. I have a family as well.
Sorry,
I have a family as well.
We're
Okay.
just trying to have an entertaining conversation. We apologize.
Yeah, okay. Because I had to watch all the lectures before. It was super long. Some were really super long. Like for example, the one from Limping Cot was super long. The last one, the one before mine, was also super long. It was taking a lot of time. By the way, they have the same kind of technology we have for nearly real-time 3D.
Sorry.
EV, we help them, okay?
You're sorry.
And
I'm sorry. You're right. You're totally right.
Yeah, and he used 0 fruits on top of that, just pines and grass, which is not at all what we talked about when we said we are going to pay for the D2.
You're
But
right. We should respect you
later.
more. I apologize.
Okay. Okay, so one more question, because I have enough of the way you are taking the things.
Stuart Lippincott has a question for you,
Yeah,
Jean-Luc.
well, I will not answer him.
Okay. Sorry, Stuart. He does not want to talk to you. Someone else asked, they can't remember the name of the renderer. What is it called?
Narvalo 3D 2000.1.
Okay. Do you plan?
But we are going to release the 0.2, like probably this year again.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the update with the HDMI. It's the update with the HDMI. You've seen it into the presentation, right?
Yes. Yes.
So why are you asking the question? You know very well what's going to happen.
You're totally right. Sorry for. We should have known the answer to that question. Sorry.
It's okay.
The
It's
people
okay.
are asking.
I'm sorry. I can get the impression that I'm a bit tense, but really, fruits are very demanding.
It's true. It's true, and I never realized that before. I guess I should eat more fruits.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I'm saying. This is also where it's coming from. I mean, if it's ben sana and corpore sano, okay? So it means that if you eat more fruits and you render more fruits, then you will live longer.
It's true. It's true.
And
People
this
are
is the
asking,
philosophy, and this is the philosophy that we want to develop.
can you
That's not
actually print the geometry, or it's only JPEG and JPEG 2000 and HDMI?
The what?
Can you 3D print the geometry?
Yes. Yeah, of course. But this is going to be the 0.3 release, where you will actually render to the printer straight. No need for the interface or anything. It will just render whatever fruits you want, but of course you cannot eat them.
Okay.
Yeah, there will be fake fruits first. But
Is that in the plans?
There's a lot of things in the pipes, huh? So
Do
I don't
you-
want
Do
to
you
excite
plan
people.
to make the fruits edible one day?
That would be the ideal. I mean, you see, when they were rendered, you can nearly touch them. You had this feeling, this closeness to the fruits, that you can nearly touch them. Ideally, you should be able to lick them, and finally, and it's probably in the very near future, you should be able to eat them. We are working on it.
Somebody asked if you can put the fruits in Blender 3D.
Alors no, because we need 3ds Max. We need to launch 3ds Max for 25 minutes first. So the bumfuzzle raycasts, can happen in the background.
But if
So
it's,
if it's a software is launching too fast, then it cannot work.
but if you implement the fruits in Blender 3D, you could have smoothies.
Yeah, we don't have any. Okay, Fabio, we don't have any interest at working with free softwares. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, because it costs money to develop all that. So I don't see why we will, just give the stuff that we are doing for free. I mean, we have to buy, you know, cars and boats and go into fancy hotels.
Of course.
Can you use unwrap to peel the fruits?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I can feel that you are in technology. Alors, so yes and no.
This was a question from the crowd.
No, alors, so not all the fruits can be unwrapped. Bananas can. Apples, for example, are more difficult to unwrap because the skin is thinner. But for example, mandarins, super easy to unwrap. So it depends on the fruit. This is this proximity with the fruits that we want to keep. So it means that unwrapping a banana will be easier than, for example, unwrapping a tomato, because a lot of people are not knowing it, but tomatoes belongs to the world of fruits.
That's right.
Mr. Jean-Loup, we
Right.
are going to be hanging out in a Discord channel later on, and
What is
people.
this called?
It's a chat app.
Is it naughty?
It's not here, but
It's
I'll-
no. Is it naughty? He said.
Oh, I don't know. Some
I guess it.
people-
I guess it could be.
Yeah,
It sounds naughty.
but we would like to invite you there so that people from the conference can ask you
Yeah,
questions.
well, I have
later
other
on.
things to do now.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Fair enough. You have been very generous with your time.
We're-
We
Yes.
wanna thank you, and we're really happy that you decided to contribute to our conference with this
Yeah.
fantastic demo presentation.
And
I hope
I have a question though.
yes.
Yes.
Are you going to be stuck at D2 forever, or are you planning to update it to D3 or D4?
That's the plan. One
Okay.
day we also hope to get to D9.
Okay. That no more questions.
okay. Sorry if we offended you earlier, but you know,
It's okay. It's okay.
sometimes things get out of hand.
Yes.
I know, I know.
It gets difficult, and also it's the 5th day, so
We're
a
tired.
bit tired.
Yeah, I'm
So-
trying to have the name of the software in the middle of my head.
There you go.
Okay.
Mr.
So-
Jean-Loup, we want to thank you one more time for taking the time.
Thank you very much.
Talk
It was
to
a
us.
very nice D2. The
And
best so far.
we will be very happy one day to see you in person presenting on the stage of the D2, because, as you said, more fruits, better people,
Yeah.
living longer.
Exactly. This is what we want. We all want that.
Thank
So
you
come-
very much, Mr. Jean-Luc.
Come join us on
Thank
the
you very
Discord.
much.
There are a lot of fruits there.
Yes. Thank you. Goodbye, amigos.
Goodbye.
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 Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, amigo. Goodbye.
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 Bye.
Goodbye.
So-
Okay. Bye.
Goodbye.
We're leaving now.
We're wrapping
Okay.
up.
Okay. I'm gonna remove him. He's being really difficult.
That guy's obnoxious, man.
Okay. So
But anyway, guys.
we might have made a mistake with
Yeah,
this
actually.
presenter. I hope that everyone enjoyed today's lineup. We had a good time.
We had a great
Yeah,
time,
we had
actually.
a really great time.
A lot of this was a week of eye-opening content, which we were planning anyway to bring you somehow live in person, and also, you know, to have a chance to hang out. We could not do that. We transformed this into a digital event. I hope that you had fun, that you were entertained, that you were inspired. And I don't know, this is usually the time that I get emotional a little bit, because it marks the end of a year for us, a year working really hard on creating the best possible event that we can do for our guests. Unfortunately, we did not have a chance to hug each other and to see each other in person, which makes us sad, but it only gives us a chance to look forward to next year and to try and do something even better for next year. However, you know, this has given us some ideas, and all I can say is that we're gonna try and bring you more of this stuff in the future.
I would also like to make a final huge thank you to our sponsors who have helped us make this possible. including a lot of, including the D2 superfans who also helped us out
You
and
guys
showed
are
us the
amazing.
support. So I would also like to sign off and say we hope to see you next year in Vienna instead of online. But if not, we will be here either way.
And thanks again to the guys at AMD and Autodesk for being the main supporters of this event. Thanks again to Maxon for sponsoring tonight's talk, the guys at Epic Games, the guys at Pulse, the guys at Review Studio Oust. We're probably forgetting a bunch of other
Chaos
sponsors.
Group and
Chaos Group.
Yeah, I think that's everybody.
I hope
And
it's everybody.
so Narvalo 3D, of course,
Narvalo
we can't
3D,
forget
of
them.
course, which I hope we didn't offend.
They didn't
but-
pay us yet. That's the
They
thing I
haven't.
worry about. Yeah. So, but anyway, we'll talk about this later.
All right. Anyway, we will see you guys on the Discord channel so that we can say goodbye, maybe pop a beer. We're gonna go straight away there, and we'll get to spend a few minutes more together. Good night, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. This
Bye.
was
Wait a second.
Oh.
Also, big thanks to Christian and Emil for sitting back
Emil,
there
yeah.
and taking care of all the technical stuff. We almost forgot them. That would have been absolutely
it
terrible.
would have been terrible. Yes.
So we have to throw that in there too. But bye. Now we can say bye.
Good night, and I'll see you in a few minutes on the Discord
Yeah.
channel.